Hi, good morning, and welcome to part six of my video series. I'm going to carry on with the concept of myths and misconceptions in solution focus for a couple of reasons. One, I just didn't get through enough last time, and I'm trying to keep these videos between 10 and 12 minutes. Um, and secondly, I've had some pretty interesting feedback around the last videos, mostly positive, but it gives me a bit of encouragement to carry on. So, where do I start today's myths and misconceptions? Okay, this is one that's bugged me for a long, long time, and probably due a little way to my own inadequacy. Um, this idea that you have to know all about social construct, constructivism, postmodernism, Wittgenstein, Foucault, and all the rest of it to have some sort of real understanding of what SF is and how SF works. Um, Let me just say, I find this whole subject boring. And that's not to say that I don't respect that other people find it interesting, but really, I'm just not interested in the topic at all. And I think I know solution focus pretty well. Not only that, I have to say, um, this idea of this overcomplicated language and concentrating on Wittgenstein's third tractus and whatever else it is, really becomes a little bit um, othering to people that are not into that. This idea that we can speak this language and everybody's read these huge drafts of philosophy and understands, but when Foucault had a cup of coffee sitting by the Seine, he must have actually had some, light bulb moment that meant that's going to translate to where we are now in solution focus. Honestly, really, I just can't be doing with it. Great if you're a philosopher. Great if you're interested in that whole kind of topic, but you do not have to know all about it to be a good solution focused practitioner. So let's just put that one to bed, and let's just say that if you're not part of that club that speaks that language, it doesn't make you any less. Okay, let's finish with that one. Next myth. Anything goes, and if you put SF in the title, it must be SF. No, it doesn't. Anything doesn't go. If you decide that you're going to ask behavioral questions and call it solution focused behavioral therapy, it ain't solution focused anymore. It may well have some solution focused techniques, some solution focused questions, but solution focus is much more than putting it in the title, or much more than including some solution focused questions. There's this whole concept we've talked about before, of how we view people that come to see us, our underlying beliefs and assumptions around solution focus. This idea that it's observational and interactional, not behavioural. Now, people get this confused. Of course, people come to us wanting change. That change um, could be behavioural, no problem if it is. It could be observational. It could be idea wise. It could be thought processes. But actually, the point of the matter is, when we're talking about solution focus, we're talking about people's preferred futures, their desired outcomes. That may or may not instigate a behavioural process. Um, but to ask behavioural questions specifically means you're doing a behavioural therapy. To ask underlying complex psycho questions is psychodynamic or psychoanalytic. It's not solution focused. To ask questions that indicate you have some idea of what's going on as a therapist is not solution focused. To ask questions which mean you then interpret and deliver back a message based on your thoughts and expertise is not solution focused. So no, if anything works, it doesn't make it solution focused. It may make it work, and CBT can work, psychodynamic can work, Gestalt can work. All of these things can work, but it doesn't mean they're solution focused. So we're going to put that one to bed. Hopefully, maybe not. Um, a couple of others myths I want to bring up. One is about I've been accused of being anti-association, anti-professionalism. Um, ah, yeah, nah. As we say in New Zealand, yeah, nah. Um, Look, I belong to BACP, British Association of Counselling and Psychotherapy, as a registered and accredited member. So I'm not opposed to associations, particularly when there's a national or huge association, and BACP has 75,000 members. When there's a national association that allows you to practice, because there's certain standards and certain things that you have to meet in order to be able to practice. It's very difficult to practice in many Western countries without having a professional membership behind you, and all that entails: the insurance, the accreditation, the professional indemnity, the continuing professional development, the idea that you belong to something bigger than you that can actually support you, and the idea that people coming to see you see some credentials. So I have no problem with that level of association. However, all of those associations need to keep up to date and need to be relevant to the practice, and the practice needs to be relevant to the best hopes of the people you're seeing. What I am not particularly fond of is small associations that are um, um, more like clubs and associations, where there's a fee, where there's a hierarchy that's generally determined by the people within that association, where that association makes attempts to be bigger than it is in terms of kudos, membership, um, credibility, and I find those things difficult. I also see smallish associations where chairs and vice chairs and presidents of the association also have business interests, and the two are not separate enough for me. Um, I think it's very difficult for a small association to speak with any credibility about accreditation, about credentialing, and about standards when they don't have either the membership behind them. So thousands. I'm talking not here a couple of hundred or whatever. When they don't have thousands behind them to support that. I find it difficult when I see associations that list practitioners or therapists that are only members of that association. Supposing somebody was in crisis in a local area, but there wasn't somebody on that list that wasn't part of that association and couldn't be referred to. I find it difficult when associations hold interest groups with the overriding um, um, promotion that they're supporting and spreading solution focus, and yet there's a requirement, or at very least a a hope that people will sign up to that membership of that association. So I'm not against associations per se. And what I would say is I think we're coming to the end of the world of associations in that respect. I think loose collectives, I think people who put in their own time and give up power to spread the word of SF is much more what I'm aligned to than being a membership of something. I don't particularly subscribe to that idea that we have to be members of something to promote something. But one of the best things about solution focus is that the language has gone outside of the therapy world. It's gone outside into all walks of life, and that hasn't happened because of associations necessarily. It's happened because of people picking up the ideas and using them, and that's where I'm kind of at. So look, the myth out there is, and I've actually seen it written, particularly about me. Paul is anti-association. Well, let's not talk about anti something. Let's talk about pro something. I'm pro collectives. I'm pro social enterprise. I'm pro community enhancement, and I'm pro spreading the word of solution focus without needing to be part of something that I have to pay for or sign up to. Let's just put it there. Okay, look, oh my gosh, 10 minutes already. Last myth of the day. One day's training makes you solution focused. You don't need to have therapy training. You don't need to have any particular um, background to be a solution focused practitioner. Okay, one day's training will give you some tools. It won't make you a solution focused therapist. It may make you beginning solution focused practitioner. But after 28 years, no, not 20, 25 years of solution focus, I'm still learning and I do it most days. So this idea that I could go and do a day's training and be solution focused, I'm sorry for all those that offer a day's training. It's hogwash. It's nonsense. When I offer a day's training, I make it very clear to people this is the start of a process for you. This will give you some tools. Go and watch other practitioners, go and listen to other people, go and read some books, practice the solution focused techniques, learn more. Scott Miller talks about deliberate practice in therapy and other sort of helping professions. If you don't keep practicing what you do, if you don't learn more, you cannot become competent and proficient. Now, that doesn't mean that one day's training isn't a great starter. It is. It absolutely is. We all have to start somewhere. But please don't do a day's training, go out there and say, "Oh yeah, hey, I'm a solution focused therapist," because you're not. You're really not. I'm still learning, as I say. So this idea that 1 day or 2 days makes you proficient, it doesn't. What it does, it should give you a taster. It should give you an idea that this is something you want to learn more about. So go learn more. There's some fantastic practitioners out there. Um, what I say is just what I say. Go listen to some other people. Go watch some videos. Go read some books. Go practice. Practice in a safe way, in small ways, with your colleagues and other people, and see how it brings you on. One of the things that I get constantly asked in supervision is, "Gosh, I got stuck at this point. What do I do next?" And often it's because people have this idea that they can just go through a solution focused session having had 1 day's training. It's not enough. I'm sorry. It's a great start, but it ain't enough. So and I know there's but the people I respect most are people that do a day's training, 2 days training, and offer further training. And I'm thinking of people like solution focused trainers, great, brief, great. These people offer extra. Um, I would certainly always suggest that you go to extra. That's enough myths and conceptions for today. Please leave your comments. More than happy to respond to them. Have a great day. It's Monday morning here in New Zealand. Aotearoa. See you later. Ka kite anō.